So, my name's Brennan. I played the Red Ranger in Power Rangers Dino Charge. So, yeah, I just found out today that I had this panel. So, if you guys have specific questions for me, totally down to answer those for you. Yeah, I guess a little bit about me, though. Like, you probably know me from Power Rangers, but I also was in the first episode of iCarly. I was the backwards talker. In that, I actually do talk backwards. That was a weird talent I have. I was in Disney's Kickin' It. I was in American Horror Story Season 1 Murder House in the finale. I was in Secret Life of the American Teenager for 2 episodes. I did a movie with Bruce Willis and Tom Cavanaugh called Corrective Measures, which is on Tubi. And then I have a movie, an animated film coming out later, either this year or early next year, called Ultra Duck, where I voice one of the main characters in that as well. And then I do a lot of stunt work. So I was in Obi-Wan Kenobi for stunts. I do stunts in NCIS quite often, and then a lot of other shows.
The first question. So compare the Super Sentai franchise and the Power Rangers franchise. The difference between your character Tyler and, I don't know, the character...
Daigo?
Daigo. What are the difference between Tyler and Daigo?
Honestly, they're more similar than different, I think, at least in the way I view them. They're both very high energy and very positive thinking individuals. They both don't like the idea of giving up. But differences, I mean, they speak different languages. So, I don't know. Honestly, I think they're more similar than not. So I can't really think of what they would do differently in a specific scene in my head. But it's been a while since I've watched Kyoryuger, so I can't remember every detail. Yeah, good question, though.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello again.
Hello.
So, what was your experience like when you became part of the Power Rangers family?
So I initially auditioned for Power Rangers Samurai to be the Gold Ranger. And when I didn't get it, I was really, really disappointed because I grew up watching Mighty Morphin and I always wanted to be a Power Ranger. There's pictures of me as a little kid where my mom hired a Green Ranger cosplayer in my backyard, and I have the dragon dagger he's giving me and stuff. And so when I didn't get Samurai, I was really jaded and didn't want to audition for Power Rangers anymore. And then a friend of mine told me about the Dino Charge audition because he was auditioning for something near it. And I didn't really want to go because I was like, they already saw me, they don't like me. And then I kept getting callbacks and then another callback and another callback. And then when I finally booked it, it was surreal. I didn't even believe it until I was actually in New Zealand, filming. Because you find out pretty quickly in Hollywood and acting, you can film something and they could still replace you. They'll just reshoot it if they think it's not working. And so until I see it on TV myself, that's when I know it's okay. But it was amazing, and it still is amazing to be a part of the community and the fandom. Because again, from fan to Power Ranger, who is still a fan, just it's really a blessing. So.
Nice. Thank you for your answer.
Hi, I've been watching Power Rangers for a long time. Your season is one of my favorite installations.
Thank you.
If you could have a Morpher in real life and actually be able to transform, other than your installation in Samurai, what Morpher would you want?
Honestly, something low-key, probably. Mighty Morphin had it right with the belt buckle. I don't know, mine with a whole blaster thing. Where can I whip that out and not get, arrested in 5 seconds? Yeah. So I'd probably go something a little it's not going to kill you looking thing. So,
awesome,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Any comments, concerns? No, just chilling. I don't know. I mean, shoot, guys. We're here together. You guys can come closer if you want. I know people are very far away. Do you want to see a handstand? I don't know. I can do that. Yeah? All right. I do acrobatics a lot. So when in doubt, go upside down, right? So I'll just do it on the table. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, why not? Why not? If it falls, you guys have a good story to tell, right? Okay. That's fine. It's a good table. I trust it. Okay.
Oh my God!
Okay, back to splits. Thank you. Yeah, see, I can do more than just talk, multi.
Okay, so who's the actor who played the Pink Ranger again? I forgot her
Camille
name.
Hyde.
Camille. Camille, is she a good friend of yours? Like, she's a really good friend. And what was her story when she was cast as the Pink Ranger?
So I didn't meet her until the auditions, but in one of the auditions, she looked at me and she's like, "Hey, have you ever been to Hawaii?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Were you in Maui at whatever year?" "Yeah." She's like, "I'm pretty sure I saw you on the beach going on runs in the morning." I was like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah," because I did. I was on the cross country team. So I never met her until the audition, but she used to watch me run in Maui randomly when I was on vacation. So like, small world for sure. Like, you never know when you meet someone or don't meet them because they're watching you creepily while you're running on the beach. But then you end up working with them like 10 years later.
All right, thanks.
Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah. You don't have to be shy. I just did a handstand on a table for you. Like, it's really okay. Yes!
My question for you, sir,
Yes.
is if you could do a Power Ranger movie with every Power Ranger that's ever been on the film, would you do it?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's a lot of Power Rangers, too.
I-
That'd be a very long movie, or they're going to have to, like, Avengers Endgame it, where we're all just in one giant fight together.
Hey, that's honestly what I was thinking. So,
Yeah, I know Megaforce tried it, but, like, I think if we did it again,
like,
could
make
work.
it just a whole
Heck yeah.
mega flicks.
I'd be down. Why not? I mean, the more times you get to wear red spandex, the better, right? So,
Well,
Yeah.
all right, thank you, sir.
of course. Anyone else? Yes. Repeat offenders are welcome.
So for the ones that didn't grow up with the OG Power Rangers, what was it like for you to, be part of the generation's childhood of this time?
Yeah, it's crazy, honestly. It's not like I wake up every day and look in the mirror and go like, "You're a Power Ranger." Like, it was something you did and then you just keep going on with your life like a normal person. But then when you're at specific events like this, where people walk by or come to the table and they're like, "You were my childhood. I grew up watching you. I was you for Halloween." Like, it's really surreal. I still don't really believe it, other than on Halloween when I literally see people dressed as me. I was like, "Oh, cool." But like, I used to dress as the Mighty Morphin Rangers for Halloween. So it's just an honor. It's just crazy how life is. And like, I don't know whether you believe, like, for me, like, I believe in God, but people manifest or whatever, like, things happen that you really, like, why not you? Because so often I feel like we limit ourselves that I could never get that job. I can never have that happen in my life. But it has to happen to someone, So like, why not you? So, yeah.
Right. And again, thanks for your answer.
Of course. I know you wanted Toad. I saw you.
Did you get to keep any memorabilia from the show? And if so, what are like a couple of your favorite things you got to keep and take home?
Great question. And yes, they actually let us keep 10 items in my season. Some seasons they give them nothing. I know Dino Fury got to keep their suits. And I was like, what the heck? We didn't get to keep our suits. So I was mad. Whatever, I don't even care. I do care. But so for mine, we all got to keep our Energems. So that wasn't one of the 10 items. And then I chose my bracelet that my character wears. I'm not wearing it today. I kept my red vest. I took a couple pairs of jeans. I took a Dino Charger. I took the boots my character wears. And then I took, in the episode where I was a waiter, like for the food critic, I kept the vest for some reason. I thought it was cool at the time, and now it's in my closet. I'm like, I'm never wearing that again. I got to keep my Dinobite Cafe hat and apron. Again, something I never wear. It's just there. And I got to keep my journal. I might have gone over 10 items, but I was supposed to take 10, but whatever. Who's counting? The journal my character writes in, so I got to keep that. A fun story, though, so Chip Lynn, who was our producer, he made a challenge for all of us at the very beginning. He's like, hey, so I'm going to do a scrapbooking competition. Whoever has the best scrapbook gets a prize when we're done filming. And so some of us didn't do scrapbooking. I brought my wife with me, who scrapbooked for me, essentially. So lo and behold, we won. And all we won, he's like, look, you got the best book of all your memories. And I was like, really? So I didn't win anything, but it is a cool scrapbook. So he was right. It's fun to look back at occasionally. So, yeah.
And then one more. What's one of your favorite episodes that you got to film?
I liked filming the season finale in season 1. Being on Sledge's ship was cool. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with like how fast TV shows are filmed, but Power Rangers does it 50 million times faster than normal TV shows. We do 3 episodes every 9 days, which is absurdly fast. But also to put it into perspective, some of that's Sentai footage, some of it's a Megazord battle where you're just gonna go and dub, whatever. But a lot of it's because it's split between first unit and second unit, so all the stunt stuff is happening while we're doing all the acting stuff, typically. But when you get to do an episode where it's your episode, like it's red specific or pink specific, you get more screen time. And so you feel like you're not just filming super quickly, but in the background where everyone's together with serious looks on their face, and you go, yeah, and then run out to go fight. You actually get a couple lines, which is nice. Because Power Rangers isn't like the most wordy of shows, but it can get really kind of boring sometimes when you're there on set for 14 hours and you say like 3 things, and you're just in the background like looking concerned the whole time. And you're like, all right, I want it to be an episode where I can do something. And then it is, and you're like, yes. So,
Awesome, thank you.
of course. Yeah, go for it. Might as well.
I mean, okay. So you were mad that you kept your Energem, of course, but the suits.
Yeah.
That was tough on you. This is the question. Were you feeling, man? If were you thinking, man? Were you thinking you should have kept the suit? They should have let you kept the suits instead of the Energems.
So, I mean, honestly, what do they do with the suits after? Like, they go into storage somewhere, right? Like, you might as well give it to the people you literally tailored them to fit. So that's just my thought. But I also understand they probably didn't want young adults to be dumb on social media and like wear the suit and do something that's like not Power Ranger fan friendly kind of deal. But then they just decided with Dino Fury it was okay. I don't know. But I did have one made afterwards. So I was mad, but then instead of staying mad, I decided to do something about it, and I got a suit made that I have in my closet.
I just thought, I just thought another question that I just thought of. What is it like to meet other actors from previous seasons?
The first few times was really weird, and like, because I, was into their shows when I was a kid, and so when I first met Austin St. John, he didn't even know I was a Power Ranger. Like, someone else told him I was a Power Ranger. He's like, oh, welcome to the family. Like, it's just cool how welcoming people are. And then now being an older Ranger myself, or Legacy Ranger, whatever word makes us feel better, it's fun meeting the newer generations and then being able to welcome them to the family. But it's kind of like it's a thing we all share a similar journey, even though everyone's time on set is slightly different. But it's the same thing where we're filming ridiculous hours, working 6 days a week in a foreign country away from family if you're one of the newer seasons. So we all kind of bond without even knowing each other, which is cool.
Oh, and yeah, this is no one's even here.
Nah, you got it. You keep it going.
Yeah, okay, I'm keeping
the
it going.
audience is like, give those questions. Yeah,
So
look at the Wizards of Waverly Place.
Okay, so they said on the news they said they're not doing Power Rangers in New Zealand no more. So what was your reaction when you found out about it?
I cried 3 days and 3 nights. No, honestly, it was a bummer because there's always kind of like the thought like, oh, if they do a team up, they'll bring you back. And even if they do a team up now, it's not going to be New Zealand. And I love going to New Zealand. So the fact that it won't be in New Zealand is kind of like, dang it. If it's just in California, that just means I have to drive in traffic to go film it. But I know they're going to film more at some points. My thoughts personally is either they're going to do it in Canada somewhere or probably in California, but I could be fully wrong.
Okay, so there's a lot of people. And now, okay, so I am so confused. So now with iCarly not gotten canceled during the writer's strike, do you think that you will donate money to get iCarly back for season 4?
No, I will not donate money to them. But if they want to bring me on the show, I would do that. Yep. I will make money for them, but I will not give them money. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's good. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Hello.
Hello again.
So I apologize in advance. I did come in a little late, so
how dare you?
If you already answered this, I apologize.
Totally did.
Can you walk me through the stunt process for Power Rangers? So, there's a lot of the scenes where it's like the adaptation of the Super Sentai, but then you also have, the English actors doing a lot of their stunts. Could you walk me through, I guess you would call it choreography, right?
Yeah.
Could you walk me through that whole process?
Yeah, it's a great question. So basically, when we first got to New Zealand, they gave us 3 weeks of stunt training for several hours a day with Alpha Stunts, which is the Japanese stunt team they bring over to New Zealand that's been doing it for like ever. And they pair us up with whoever's doubling us, and so we train with them. And then we were doing group fights and learning like camera angles, because I have a martial arts background with like Krav Maga and judo, and I wrestled. But Krav Maga is totally not the same as fighting for camera. Like, you cover your face in actual fighting, but they're like, no, leave your face open so camera can see you. When you throw a kick, drop your guard. And so it was like learning how to unfight to fight for film, and that was really weird mentally. And then when we would do a scene, so basically you would do like, rehearsal, and they would see what you're comfortable doing. Depending on the ranger, some of us had more martial arts training than others. And so they would let us do more or less of it. And then they would be like, are you comfortable with this and this? This is what we had in mind. Are you comfortable with it, or do you want to change it slightly? It's like, oh, well, instead of throwing a punch here, do you mind if I do a kick instead? And they're like, oh, yeah, that's fine. And so you kind of collaborate back and forth. And then it's, it's memorizing. It's beats like a dance or whatever. So it's hard to do it when you're fighting a monster because you can't see their eyes. Like normally in stunts, because I do stunts now, like I mentioned at the beginning of the panel, which you weren't here for shows. So like I double people and I do fights for them. And so typically when you're fighting someone, you make eye contact so they know you're about to throw a punch, or you make a noise like, ha, like, so you're on the same page. When you're fighting a monster in a suit, you can't even see their eyes, can't really hear them. I don't even know how they're doing it. And so I'm assuming they're gonna move, and they do. They're just incredible though, because those suits are so hot and heavy, and they make it work. They keep the spacing, for camera too. You gotta make sure you're not too close or too far so you don't actually hit them, or so you make it look like you're hitting them, and then they can add a sound effect. But if you just fully miss, then like you gotta redo it because it doesn't look real. But yeah.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Hello again.
What was your favorite episode to work on?
Well, one of my favorites was season 1 finale. Another favorite, though, let's see. Basically, anytime I got to do a fight scene or film with like Yoshi or James, like just us, because I mentioned earlier, the more Rangers there are in a scene, unless it's your episode, the more you're just standing there doing nothing, kind of, except trying to like look concerned. But Yoshi and I, like in season 2, the first episode, the premiere, where we got to fight Ice Age together, that one was really fun because it was like, you thought we were captured and then we escaped and then we got to work together. So I just like the story.
Oh, so one more thing. I have a picture of me in a costume of that ranger that you were.
Oh, mine? That is awesome. See, that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's crazy when like someone's like, I was you for Halloween, or like, that's just so cool. You have good taste. Are you coming with a question? Yeah, do it.
Hi, excuse me. I don't watch a lot of Power Rangers, but I've watched them when I was a kid. I enjoyed what I did. So I understand that Power Rangers is inspired by Super Sentai, if I'm not incorrect? Yeah. Have you watched Super Sentai? And if you have you met any of the actors there? What do you think?
So, yes, I've watched the Sentai counterpart of my season, Kyoryuger, and I loved it. I honestly wished we adopted more of some of their themes. Not everything. I understand why they changed things. But I'm hoping one day to do a convention with my Super Sentai counterpart, because I think that'd be so cool to have like us both. I know Power Morphicon will occasionally bring the Sentai versions of the Rangers over, like they brought the Megaforce Red, I think, last Morphicon. But if they ever bring Daigo, that'd be super cool. But I've never met him. I met the original Red, like Mighty Morphin counterpart in Sentai, but he, I think, was probably the only one.
Okay, yeah. I ask because I saw at this Power Morphicon they're bringing that Shiro Izumi guy. I was just wondering if like what they think. Like, do they watch Power Rangers?
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I'm sitting next to a manga artist, and he has a translator with him, and his translator was telling me that he watches Sentai, and he wanted my autograph because he watches my Sentai counterpart And so even though I'm not, but I'm close enough, I guess. I don't know. So it was just cool. It was like an honor to sign an autograph for him, even though I'm not the show he actually wanted it from, but I'm like kind of it in a sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just like, I kind of want to get more into Power Rangers. It's because it's because of awesome people like you.
I appreciate
that I
it.
keep seeing that at these cons and stuff, and I'm like, maybe I want to watch your show now.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely are a lot of different seasons. They used to have a bunch on YouTube. I'm sorry, on Netflix, but now they're on YouTube. At least mine is on Power Rangers Kids official YouTube channel. They have Dino Charge now because they pulled it off of Netflix.
Oh, that's right. You're the Dino Charge Ranger.
I am.
Okay, good, because I wanted to get more into this kind of stuff, and I was figuring that that aren't so from my understanding, it's Power Rangers and Super Sentai they have an agreement, right? Your studio talks to the Super Sentai studios, and you're both on really good terms, right?
Yeah, well, so I'm not exactly sure of all the ins and outs, but I believe Hasbro didn't renew the contract with Toei this time around. So going forward, I don't know if they're doing all original or what's going on, or if they're going to talk to them to adapt later on. But as of now, I don't know if it's going to be the normal what you're talking about, where it's like, we're going to adapt this one, and then we're going to make our own thing. So who knows?
Okay, gotcha. That was my point exactly. Actually,
yeah. But normally, yes.
Okay, good. Because again, I'm just trying to get more information from here, and I was figuring that are you glad that Super Sentai is getting recognition through Power Rangers?
Oh yeah. I mean, without them, we wouldn't be a thing. And I think when I watched Toonami growing up, when I watched Dragon Ball Z, I didn't even know what subs and dubs were. I just thought it was in English at the time because I was a kid, and you didn't have access to all the Japanese versions easily like we do now. But now they're only the shows that I started with as a kid that I don't want to watch subbed because it's weird to me. Goku to me is the Goku that I watched in English, not the Japanese. But if I watch, Demon Slayer, I want to watch it in Japanese because that's what I started with. So it just depends on the show,
Yeah, I totally get you. It's the way of Pokemon.
Pokemon was in English to me, so I never watched it in Japanese. So Ash Ketchum is an English-speaking person in my brain.
Yeah, of course. I gotta say thank you for being here.
Of course.
I know I didn't arrive immediately. I was distracted by stuff, but
hey, we're all distracted by many things. There are many shiny things out in that convention. So you're fine.
That's true. I'm just glad that I'm able to ask these questions because, to be completely honest with you, it is kind of an honor to be able to speak with someone who's just so talented, and I really appreciate how close and tightly knit together the Power Rangers community is as a whole. I understand that the fandom has been going strong for many years. I just wanted to say, what are your thoughts on how big this franchise has become and how successful that you guys have been? It's were you wow, I actually managed to pull together a bunch of people together to enjoy something?
Yeah, well, thank you very much for the compliments first and foremost. I mean, we're all just people, but I appreciate it. And second, it's crazy to be a part of something like Power Rangers because you never really know, being a fan of something, again, before the advent of the internet and going to cons, you don't understand the cumulative power, I guess, or just the love that people share for a specific entity. And I actually went to MorpherCon, which is the big Power Ranger con every 2 years. Before I was a Power Ranger, I went as a guest, just as a attendee with a buddy of mine. And so I was already going to them before I was a Power Ranger. And then after I became a Power Ranger and getting to go on stage in the suits and just seeing the energy from the crowd and how excited they were, I just didn't want to let them down when I started filming. So I was afraid, imposter syndrome. I'm not good enough to be a Power Ranger. I got to go rewatch a bunch of episodes to remember the timing and the way people like it, and so, but I think it was well received overall. So
hey, I'm glad. Thanks for answering my multiple questions. I know
were very
usually you're
welcome.
supposed to ask one, but
I mean, honestly, there wasn't a line. We got a couple people now, but when no one else is there, feel free. So.
Sure, I could re-enter the line, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks for answering my questions. It's such an honor to meet you, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course, you're welcome.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Hello. My question is, does being a Power Ranger have any effect on the audition process and hiring for other things? Did that change anything?
So I think a lot of people have this idea in their head that when they get off of a show, that it's going to open a million different doors for a bunch of other shows. And sometimes that happens, and sometimes it doesn't, and it can vary greatly on the show and the individual. I thought after Power Rangers I'd be working all the time. Was not the case. I know other people off of Power Rangers who did start working all the time. It just depends. Like, honestly, I've had casting directors I've auditioned for, and they're like, hey, can I get a picture with you after the audition because like my kid's really into your show? And I do, and then they don't hire me anyway. And I was like, really? So, yes and no, but I don't think it hurts in the sense that any experience you have in a professional setting can lend itself towards other professional jobs. But no, it doesn't magically like, because I was a Power Ranger, I'm now gonna be in the next Michael Bay movie or something. But,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
of course.
I am still here.
You're still here, so
yeah,
am
I'm
I.
still here. So the signature dish for Super Sentai is curry rice, Japanese curry rice to be exact. Do you think that it will ever put in a Power Ranger season? Like if they bring Power Rangers back, would they ever put like curry rice or anything like that?
I have no idea. I didn't even know that was a thing for like, I mean, I know like curry is like a meal they eat a lot, but I didn't know it was like a specific Sentai.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Another question. And did you ever have a feeling when you became a Power Ranger, you were like, you wanted to be the Gold Ranger, but then today you became the Red Ranger?
Honestly, I didn't even care what color. I just wanted to be a Power Ranger. And when I was auditioning for Dino Charge, I auditioned for black and red. And they actually told me in one of the callbacks to just bring a bunch of different colored shirts. So I had like the rainbow was in my bag. Like I just had every plain single colored shirt that I own from my closet with me in case. But yeah, I mentioned earlier, like I auditioned for Samurai as gold, but I ended up getting red for Dino Charge. But if I ever came back, I'd probably want, like as a 6 Ranger, I'd like to be a platinum Ranger because they don't have any platinum, or like a pink Ranger because I rock pink shirts pretty well. So.
Okay, and this is the final question. So you know the guy who played, who was the main villain who...
Sledge?
not Sledge, but...
Zed.
Snide's alternate...
Heckle.
Heckle, there it is. And we found out that Heckle became the Dark Ranger.
Yes.
There's already another Super Sentai counterpart who's actually evil, but actually you know what? Never mind. He actually becomes evil still. But Heckle became the Dark Ranger. I'm like, can we just please give him like a blaster morpher? He does have a blaster morpher or anything.
He morphs with the boomerang. I don't know. I didn't make it up. I wasn't there. They didn't consult me.
Okay, thanks.
Of course.
Did you or any of your co-stars ever like pull any little pranks on each other during filming?
Yeah, actually. How familiar are you with the show?
I've seen it all.
Okay, so do you remember the Halloween episode where we're all ghosts?
Yeah.
So in the Dino Bite Cafe scene, Michael Tabor, our Green Ranger, and I actually switched like role. We didn't tell the director, but he acted as me and I acted as him for that scene. So when we had to dub it, we actually had to like dub over each other's performances because we just switched. And the director actually thought it was funny when we told him afterwards. But yeah, so that was probably a good prank, I thought.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
Hello again.
Hello again.
So, what was your camaraderie experience like working with past and present Power Rangers?
So past as in like Austin St. John,
Yeah.
that was super cool. So when we all came out to New Zealand to film, we heard a bunch of the stories of the original days. We actually ended up going to a jiu-jitsu class together too on one of our off nights. So I got to train jiu-jitsu with him and some of the other Rangers. And then with the present Rangers, so filming with Beast Morphers, again, was just amazing to come back because we knew about the crossover because like timeline-wise in the Sentai, it happened already before Go Buster. And so we thought we missed the boat on like getting to adapt it. And so when Chip reached out to us to do it during Beast Morphers, we were like all super excited for it. So again, anytime I get to go to New Zealand is amazing. And I actually did a convention while I was over there before we filmed, and I got to meet a bunch of cool people like Tom Welling from Smallville, which was super cool because I grew up watching.
That's a good show.
Yeah. So that was just like cool to be in a con with him and a bunch of other cool people too.
And thanks again for your answer.
Of course.
Yeah.
Hi, it's me again.
Hello again.
First of all, I didn't clarify last time. My name is Aaron. It's nice to meet you.
You as well, Aaron.
I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
It's Brennan.
Thank you, Brennan. Thank you, Brennan. So to clarify, you guys. So how much of the fight scenes? I'm not too familiar, so forgive me if this is actually a really obvious answer. How much of the fight scenes in Dino Charge, right? How much of those fight scenes are you guys, and how much of those fight scenes are stock footage from your Super Sentai counterparts?
So in Dino Charge specifically, we started adapting more or doing more original footage for the fights, but even original footage is typically our stunt doubles just filmed in New Zealand. So anytime a helmet is on, it's not us, like ever.
Okay.
But the fights outside of the suits are us, depending on the ranger and depending on the stunt. So Yoshi and I always wanted to do as much as we could ourselves because we're both acrobatic and like to do it. But some of the other rangers didn't really care to do necessarily as much because they're more into the acting side than the physical, which is totally fine. So then they would have stunt doubles outside of the suits, like put on wigs and stuff to do some of the fights for them too.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense because sometimes it's super seamless. So I'm like, wow, I can't really figure it out if it's you or if it's them or if it's someone else.
Yeah. So a way to know if it's New Zealand footage or Sentai footage, when we're standing there and then it's morphin' time and then we're in suits, right?
Yeah.
If the background changes to a new city or location, it's Sentai footage. If it stays the same, it was filmed there.
Okay, gotcha. Because most people like me just pay attention to the fights. They don't really pay attention to the background.
Yeah, but if you go back and like watch Mighty Morphin, just put on an episode because a lot of it is Sentai footage. They'll morph and the background's like a Japanese city all of a sudden. Like it's just.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I remember in some Power Rangers series they explained it away by like making the battlefield turn different for some reason.
Yeah, that was probably RPM, where they have an episode where they answer a bunch like, why are there sparks in our suits and fire when we morph? And they're like, oh, it's the discharge from the morphing grid. Like they tried to basically make it funny, which they did. It was actually pretty funny. So.
Oh, that's leaning on the fourth wall. I like it.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, it's because I'm actually super impressed that like you guys actually like know how to like fight like the Power Rangers, which is really cool.
And a lot of that again was from the stunt training, and even though they don't require as much physical skill in current seasons as they did in the past where they looked for martial artists specifically, we still had physical demonstrations for the audition. So like I did a handstand in my audition, I did a backflip in my audition, I did some kicks, some people brought in swords, some people had nunchucks, like they just wanted to see that you're basically coordinated in some way.
Okay, cool. So I guess you could say it's a little similar to how like they like to hire people who know martial arts for those John Wick movies.
Yes, it definitely helps, but it's not the end of the world. If you're perfect for the role in the acting department and the look they're going for, you'll probably still get it. But if it's between you and one other person and you're both quote unquote perfect, but one has martial arts abilities, they're going to pick them.
Of course, yeah, that makes a lot of sense because I was just saying because the thing is you know how you mentioned that sometimes it cuts the other footage, there's different setting and stuff. So when it's the New Zealand people, do they actually get the Sentai suits? Because it looks exactly the same.
Yeah, so yes and no. If for whatever reason in Dino Charge, they did not have the Sentai gold suit, and the one they made in New Zealand almost looks more like tan to me. Like it doesn't have that shiny lust. Like if you look at our wizards over here, how their suits, whatever cloaks are shiny, shimmery. Like I don't know good seamstress terms or whatever, but it's shiny, right? If you look at our Gold Ranger and Dino Charge, when it's original footage from New Zealand, it's not shiny. But then when it's Sentai footage, it's a shiny gold. So they didn't have the same suits.
Yeah, that was what I was wondering.
Yeah, they remade them in New Zealand.
Okay, gotcha. That answers my question because I was wondering, do they lend you guys the suits or do you have to make your own?
They lent us the suits when we were announced at Morphicon. So when we came on stage, if you look up for whatever that picture was when we're all posing, those suits are all shiny. Those are from New Zealand. Okay. I mean, from Japan.
Okay, gotcha. But for fight scenes, they make you make your own?
Well, they make them. I don't make them. Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, you must also know how to sew to get this job. I was like, okay, well, I'm out.
Yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense because I For some reason, I'm not as good because I don't watch a lot of Power Rangers,
Yeah.
but it's for some reason I'm not as good at like picking out these details. I'm sure if I watched more Power Rangers, I'd be better at it.
Yeah, you'd have to look for it. And I actually, on my YouTube channel, I used to do Ranger React episodes where I would watch an episode and explain behind the scenes things. But then YouTube flagged me for like copyright. And I was like, literally, I'm talking about myself. But whatever. So I stopped making them.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That's,
No, so lame.
I don't know. I kind of want to see more of that. Actually, I like that kind of stuff.
I know. What can you do? But
Yeah, that's true. And I also did want to ask.
After this question, though, I'm going to answer there too, and then you can rejoin the line as well.
Sorry about
that.
that.
Yeah, no,
Sorry.
You're good.
Okay, thanks. I just wanted to. Do you know if the Super Sentai guys have watched your Power Rangers counterparts and if they like it?
I do not know.
Okay,
But what's there not to like? I have no idea.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm like, this is an adaptation that brings more new flavors to the table. What's not to like, man?
Agreed. Good question, though, Aaron. I'm not sure.
Well, thanks. Of
course.
Yeah, thanks. I'll see you around.
Take care.
Thanks, you too.
Hello again.
Hello.
So my question is, what is something from the Super Sentai adaptation that you wish was adapted into Dino Charge that was not adapted?
I liked the idea of the melody of the earth, and I liked how they had the whole underworld thing. That's like how their bad guys kept coming back to life versus ours where they just had like the ability to bring it back because of a machine or whatever. I don't know. That made less sense to me versus the underworld is like splitting open and they're escaping. So I think that would have been cool to adapt. What else? I like that Sentai tends to be a little more, like, it's still kiddie. Like, if you watch the end credits, like, they dance with their Megazords and things. So I can't say it's more mature in that sense, but more mature in the sense that, like, they actually get blood on them. When we get beat up in Power Rangers, we just get dirty. Like, literally, it's like we rolled through the mud, but we don't get, like, battle wounded, which I always found kind of strange.
Yeah. And that's probably why they didn't adapt the underworld, because of that nature.
I like
of,
that, though.
Yeah.
It was cool, and I get it. And they're like, it's for kids. I was like, well, Sentai is for kids too, I think. But, like, I don't know. Maybe they think their kids are more mature than our kids. I don't know. But I would have liked if they added some of those elements. But the thing I wish was different in Dino Charge, I didn't like the reason that the Aqua Ranger, my dad in the show, went away because Fury was chasing him or whatever. I would have accepted if he had amnesia as a better reason versus he just couldn't text me or something for 10 years that he's running from a monster. That would have just made more sense to me, but whatever.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
If you were in the world of Pokemon,
I am.
which of the original 3 starters would you want?
Do I only get one? Is that what you're saying? Like I have to choose just one?
Yeah.
Oh.
If anything, a couple others from Pokemon that you'd want on your team.
Okay, well, I mean, for the ability to fly, I'd probably pick Charizard because that would be really nice avoiding LA traffic. But if we're just talking about like which one I like and not the most useful, probably Blastoise or Squirtle, I guess, then Blastoise eventually.
Awesome. And then another one. Out of the original Mighty Morphin, which Ranger was your favorite growing up to watch on screen?
I'm gonna give the lame answer, and I liked all of them, honestly, as a kid. I didn't have, like, blue's my favorite color, but personality-wise, I just thought they all did a great job in being who they were. So, I don't know. Like, who's yours?
Probably Kimberly.
Kimberly? Yeah, that's fair.
Awesome, thank you.
Of course. Any other questions? Aaron has a question. Nice.
Do you have a question? Would you say that that Power Rangers that through adapting Super Sentai, would you say that it's like it's an adaptation? Because unfortunately, sometimes I see people dismissing Power Rangers as a quote unquote copy, even though that's obviously not true. But I wanted to hear it from your mouth actually. Like, is Power Rangers like would you consider an adaptation sort of like how they make movies out of comic books?
Yeah, it's definitely its own thing because like we obviously use the source material and very heavily, but a lot of themes are changed. Like I mentioned, we don't have the underworld in Dino Charge. We don't use the melody of the earth where we get power from the samba dance. You know, our Dino Chargers are made in a lab from Energems, which don't exist in Kyoryuger. So fully different, but we have the same suits and we fight the same looking monsters mostly, other than Sledge, you know, it was like its own original monster for our season. So yeah, definitely different, but similar. Like I like to think of them kind of like the morphing grid, you know, different dimensions.
Yeah,
like, I like to think storyline-wise that the Sentai is a different dimension as well. Like Kyoryuger is a dimension, Dino Charge is a dimension, RPM's a dimension, Mighty Morphin is the original dimension of most of the Power Ranger homes, that kind of thing.
Sure, that definitely makes sense. I mean, there's definitely multiverse stories out there, and I'm figuring this could be like, you know, it's just an alternate dimension where people look different.
Exactly. That's what I feel. But we got 3 other questions behind you. And then if anyone else has any other questions after these 3, I think we'll probably start winding down with the panel. So
of course, I wanted to say thank you for your time, Brennan.
My pleasure. Thank you.
It's an honor to meet you. Again, I know I'm not exactly a Power Rangers fan, not because I don't like it, but because I just didn't watch it.
There's a lot of content out there, so I get it.
don't watch a lot of it, but I will say that throughout all the fan interactions that I've seen and throughout what I've seen of the show and how passionate people are for it, I have a lot of respect towards the series for taking a piece of media and like spreading its influence to the States and adapting it in a way where Americans can enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
It's truly amazing what you guys have done for everyone, how much people that you've brought together. You guys are super awesome, and I really hope that you continue to get work. You're an awesome dude.
I appreciate it very much.
Of course. You have a great rest of your con,
You
dude.
as well.
Thank you, Brennan. Have a good one.
You too.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, and by the way, before I forget, if you guys want to come to a panel again, I've been told I have one tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So we can do the same thing or ask new questions or whatever, or another handstand on the table.
Hello, it's me again.
Hello.
I should have asked when I was at the table earlier.
okay.
Where did you get the Energems from? I've like never seen those anywhere.
So I have a friend who's a prop maker, and so he hand makes those actually, and I'm gonna have to put in another order because I realized I'm out of red. I have some other colors, but no more red.
Is it just personal for you, or does he have like an Etsy or something? Or?
He doesn't have an Etsy, and as far as I'm aware, he doesn't make them on his own, but I totally think he should because he's good at it, and I have no issue if he does. Like, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course.
Hello again.
Hello.
Hello. Earlier, as you mentioned, you did a handstand, and you mentioned at your audition you also did a backflip. How long does it normally take you to learn these things? Like,
yeah, so backflip is more mental. Like most people, if you have a decent jump, it doesn't even have to be that high, honestly, it's more about the rotation speed. It's trusting yourself to complete the skill. So if you don't have like a mental block against it, you can get it within a day if you're really committed to it. Handstands, though, most people don't fail because they're afraid of them. Your body just takes time to learn the awareness of being upside down and how much to adjust in your hands. So that took me for a one-arm handstand, like, because I can't remember how long it took me for a two-arm, but a one-arm training like multiple days a week for hours, it still took me several years. So it's just like, I don't know. But I learned it as an adult. I wasn't a kid who learned a one-arm handstand. I was in my 20s. I just really wanted to do it. And so most people are like, oh, I can't do that because I didn't learn when I was 5. I was like, well, I didn't either. I got my splits in my 20s too. So.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And as other people said, thank you so much for coming to the con. Amazing to meet you. My name is Blake. I was wondering, at any of the previous cons that you've been at, has any fan come up to ask a question and then just like challenged you to a feat of strength, like push-up contest or sit-out contest?
I have been
stuff?
challenged at push-up contests. I've been challenged in handstand holding for time contest. People have wanted to do backflips with me. I think someone arm wrestled me once. I think that's it for the strength, pretty much. But yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
Of course.
I'm just curious, what was your process like for researching and getting into the character?
Great question. So I started, so the Sentai, I never watched it until I was actively filming it. So I couldn't be like, well, I'm going to copy Daigo. A, I don't want to copy, and B, but I also want to pay respect to the original at the same time. So I started watching it while I was filming and in the prep stages. So I looked at characters that to me were heroes and that I wanted to emulate the spirit of them, not necessarily their performances. But like I mentioned, Tom from Smallville, so he was a big one. I actually wrote backstory for my character, and in my journal I wrote things about Tyler that you never see on screen, but why does Tyler know how to fight? For instance, does morphing just make you a martial arts master, or did he have training? And so for me, I put before his dad went missing, Tyler and his dad would take martial arts lessons together, and then after his dad went missing, he kept up on him because it was a connection he had with his missing dad. So things like that. And then when I think I mentioned it, Time Force is my favorite season. So Jason Font, who plays Wes, the Red Ranger, I really liked his portrayal. So I wanted some of his his immature energy, in his season, if you've ever watched it. But just certain characteristics I wanted to blend together, then obviously add myself to it too. So I was, looking at performances that invoked in me the feeling I would want for other people to see in a hero, I guess. And then just being authentic in the moment and not relying so heavily how I want it to sound, but how I feel while doing the performance. At least me in the beginning of my acting career, and of course we're always learning and getting better, forever a student, but I like authenticity more than I got an A+ for saying 100% of my lines, word perfect, but I wasn't actually present in the moment. So much of acting is to me, it's a true conversation. It's back and forth. It's listening, not just waiting for your turn. Oh, they finished their next line, so now it's my turn to talk because that's what the script says. That just leaves it kind of empty,
All right, thank you.
Of course. All right, I think we are good for this panel. So thank you guys so much for coming along. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday night, whether it's here or wherever you're going, the hotel or back home. I am here tomorrow and Sunday, so if you want to come down and say hi at the table or get an autograph or anything, I'll be back at 10 a.m. when it starts. And then my next panel is tomorrow at 1 p.m., which is probably here. I don't know. Is it here? Do you know? It's here.